Good evening, day trippers. It's your host, Thiago's father, 89, and we are back with another episode of the Red Sea Full Time. Liverpool 4, Arsenal 0. There is levels to this goalkeeping stuff. There is levels to this. Aaron Ramsdale has been touted as one of the signings of the season, and today he got sent to the shops by Thiago Jota for a pint of milk, an Echo, and a loaf of Hovist. We're live with your match reaction show. Let's roll that intro. Good evening, day trippers. We are back live on your PC screens, MacBook screens, TV screens, whichever screen, mobile phone screen, whichever screen you are viewing us on right now. But you are definitely in the right place because it is a match reaction show with the Red Sea Full Time. And we are victors once again, 4-0 drubbing of the Arsenal at home at Anfield. And it is important to mention that Aaron Ramsdale has been sent to the shops for a pint of milk, an Echo, and a Hovis white loaf. Listen,
brilliant.
No, there's levels to this. I'm sick to death of hearing the Arsenal fans going, he's the signing of the season. Get the fuck out of here. Is he the signing of the season? Alisson Becker had his feet. You know what? This was Alisson during the game.
He didn't have a lot to do, did he?
He had fuck all to do.
I think he made one good save against Smith Rowe, but apart from that, pretty quiet evening.
And that was just a sighter. It was a sighter.
Yeah.
He wasn't even troubled. He didn't even dive. He threw a hand at it. He put a flailing arm at it and was like, listen, mate, get out of here. Swat that shit. Get out of here. Swat that fucking shit. Whereas Aaron Ramsdale is walking off the pitch like he's been dragged through a fucking hedgerow.
He's been doing the army crawl, isn't he, underneath the barbed wire with his kit.
That's what I'm saying. And like I said on the Twitter, anyone can jump around between two sticks and get muddy. There's levels to this fucking shit. Aaron Ramsdale, yeah. Let's put this in perspective. He's had triple relegations. Wimbledon, Bournemouth, Sheffield United, and then 10 games for Arsenal where he's looked decent. But he's not been troubled by any top-class opposition. He is Kepa Arrizabalaga in an Arsenal shirt. He's Kepa in an Arsenal shirt. Get out of here. Right. Let's get to the nitty-gritty.
Let's get into it.
Liverpool absolutely slamming Arsenal at home. And Arsenal went into this game with a lot of confidence on a 10-game winning role in all competitions, which is commendable. It is commendable. You know, to go 10 games on the bounce, winning in all competitions in the English top flight isn't any kind of mean feat. There are some top-quality sides out there, whatever league and whatever division of the game that you play. Once we drill down into it and get past all the hype. But you come into Liverpool, they would have expected an onslaught. And to start with, I kind of feel the game was a little bit stale. And I was sat there looking at the TV screen and I was saying, oh, it's too slow. It was a bit laboured. And I thought to myself, oh, God, Thiago's in the midfield. He's going to get slammed. Do you know what I mean? I thought the headlines were all going to be Thiago slows down the midfield. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then Klopp and Arteta decide they're going to get at it, and 50,000 Liverpool or 50,000 fans decide, right, we're up for a fight now, and the game just exploded.
100%. I mean, it needed it, didn't it? Like, I completely agree with you. The first kind of 25, 30 minutes, I think it was great nip and tuck. I think Arsenal thought the longer we keep this level, the more chance we've got. And, we had Lee Judges on the Red Sea podcast, and he was very much of the same opinion. He's been to Anfield a few times recently and, tried to keep the score down is kind of what they go into the game with. If they get out of a 1-0 loss, a 2-1 loss, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, the first 30 minutes, Arsenal had some chances. They had some possession. Liverpool a little bit sloppy, I thought, in the first half an hour. But like you say, once that Klopp-Arteta kind of incident happened, I think everybody kind of woke up. Everybody realised what we were here for. And You know, that passion that Jurgen Klopp brings to the table. Everybody has fed off of that for the last 4 or 5 years. The whole reason we are what we are is because of him, his style, his passion, his belief, his energy. And that's exactly what we saw. And, you know, getting a couple of goals, it was like watching Liverpool of old. And, you know, again, we said last night, Liverpool under the lights, 5:30. You know, you know this is a tough place to go. There's not many places harder to go than Liverpool under the lights, seriously.
100%.
And, you know, you mentioned Arsenal had a good run, 10 games unbeaten, a couple of draws in there with Palace and Brighton. But, yeah, you know, like you say, going on a 10-game unbeaten run is commendable. Well done. That's great. You know, you've beaten Burnley, you've beaten Brighton, these kind of teams. But when you come...
Big dogs, the big dogs. Then you come to the big dogs.
You know, I mentioned it. Man United did something very similar. They went on this unbeaten run. And, you know, you look at the fixture list and you're like, yeah, it's okay. But when they meet Liverpool, oh, it's 5-0. Man City, 2-0 in second gear. So, yeah, Liverpool were back to their best. They had to be. After the loss to West Ham, after the draw with Brighton, I said on our preview show, if there's ever a must-win game, Chelsea won the early kickoff, went to 7 points. We've now got it back to 4. All we've got to do is keep churning out these wins. And I look at the bench today for Liverpool, and it was pretty weak. You know, we're down to the bare bones pretty much already. So fingers crossed, no more injuries. But yeah, a fantastic performance and no grumbles whatsoever today from me.
Well, let's just get quickly into some of your comments, guys. Thank you for locking into the Red Sea full time. Obviously, I'm Thiago's father. This is SS Southern Scouts, if you don't know us already. And if you haven't, please head over to our own channel, the Red Sea Podcast, on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. It's the Red Sea Podcast all over everything. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a follow. So from the top, big shout out to you, sir. The Reds. What a way to put West Ham game to bed. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree.
Had to be, didn't it?
It did. It had to be. It had to be. All smiles. I'm smiling too. Yeah, fantastic. I totally agree with you. Absolutely buzzing. I'm buzzing as well. And one person that is definitely buzzing is Taki Minamino. Mate, first goal at Anfield. Is he going to kick on from here? That's another pod. We're not going to get into that now. We're not going to get into that now. You again as well. Can we give Fabinho some love? Absolutely dominated centre of the park today. As always, the Hoover
every week
cleans up everything. So massive one for you, Fabinho. There's your flowers, son. Come and collect them later. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some goals to watch tonight, isn't there?
There are some goals to watch tonight.
Man United doing Man United things.
Yeah. Man United doing Man United. Actually, let's give a moment. Let's give a moment for this.
We're just gonna put a pin in Liverpool just for a second.
Just 1 second. 1 second. How does the song go? Tell me how does it feel? That the wheel. Oh God, listen. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, never, ever, ever detach yourself from that wheel that is Manchester United. You stay there for as long as you can, sir, because this is rent-free Manchester United in their heads entertainment. I'm loving every minute.
You know, a stadium we went to, mate, the other week and won 5-0 at. Wow.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. And I don't care about the red card. Yes, the red card helps. I get it. We've been there before. The red card helps. But to get parked off by Watford,
I'm back. I scored against Albania. I'm back. I got sent up against Watford and we lost 4-1.
Oh, the irony for Harry Maguire. I would love to be a fly on the wall in Roy Keane's front room right now, because that could be very, very interesting.
With his face.
Exactly. 100%. Right, quickly back through a couple of these comments.
Let's go.
I am a very proud dad.
I want to get on to him as well.
I am indeed. We're going to have to dedicate a whole show to him, I'm sure. Kev O'Sullivan, massive shout to you as well. Dominant performance. You'll see this season. I agree. Yeah, right. The first goal. It took a while to come. And I was getting frustrated because I thought this is going to be one of those days where Aaron Ramsdale try and steal some headlines and everyone goes, see, he's the signing of the season. But realistically, it was only a matter of time. SS, talk us through that first goal.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I think Ramsdale did play well. I think he did have a good game. I agree with you and a lot of the comments that a lot of the shots were directly at him. But he did make a couple of good saves. And it felt early doors that it could be one of them days where Ramsdale's just going to get to everything. But I completely agree with the comments and review. A lot of the shots were straight at him, and reaction saves are easy to do. He did do one where he kind of dragged it away from Mo Salah with both his arms, which was good. But yeah, I agree. The goal, once the Klopp altercation came up, the heat was turned up, wasn't it? And I mentioned it in our preview show, and I know it's San Marino. I know they're better. We're probably better than they are in terms of the guys that do the podcasts at football. But Trent put in 3 amazing crosses against San. It doesn't matter who they're against. It's where you're delivering the cross. You're putting it on someone's head perfectly to put it in there. Yeah, exactly. 3 assists against San Marino. I'm not saying for a second that any of them are sensational because of who it's against, but you could see he's in that kind of form, that kind of delivery that is on point. And, you look at Trent on a free kicking night, is a chance. Big time. Whips it in. Sadio Mane scores a hell of a lot of headers. Sadio Mane. Cracking finish into the ground underneath Ramsdale, which was the perfect way to beat a big goalkeeper. We did the same thing against Oblak, sort of head it down underneath him. And yeah, 1-0, off we go. And I think once that first goal goes in for Liverpool, it's only going to go one way. And, Mane was up for it. He was really fired up. He got a yellow card, which it was a little bit silly, but he went into the tackles and, he was really, really up for a fight today. And we've seen Sadio Mane struggle, I think, for the last, probably not so much this season, but last season. And he's really back with a bang this year. And we needed it because, you can't rely on Mo to do it every week. And I know he gets on the score sheet later on, but for me, scoring the 3rd or the 4th goal in a 4-0 win is great, but it's that first initial breakthrough, which is huge. Getting that first goal in a big game like this sets the tone for the rest of the match. So yeah, fantastic way to get on our way to a big score.
I totally agree with you. I mean, the Mane finish was good, and let's just dissect that a little bit further. The high line from Arsenal, surely that plays into our hands. And there's a lot of talk about the high line is designed to allow the keeper to see the ball and to have time to potentially come out and collect it. But surely you set your team up based on what opposition you're playing. Trent Alexander-Arnold is over this ball. Arguably has the best delivery in the Premier League, the best delivery in Europe, probably one of, if not the best delivery in world football. That ball is going only one place, and that is behind your defense.
Yeah.
Surely you set that line 5 yards back and you say to your goalkeeper, stay on your line and stay alive. If he stays on his line and he stays active and the line is 5 yards back, Arsenal have an opportunity to potentially defend that header because at the back, they're taller than us. They've got Gabriel, they've got White, they've got that Japanese dude. They've got some tall, they've got some tall players. Arsenal, and one thing I noticed about Arsenal today is they've become a bit of a shithouse team in terms of the way that they're playing. They've just become a bit nasty. The time wasting, the tactics in terms of trying to hold and start a Liverpool's rhythm and trying to stop Liverpool actually getting into the swing of the game, which was good to see from Arsenal because they've always had a really soft kind of centre at them. Yeah. But they've actually come out, and some of the comments prior to the game was like, especially from that Japanese kid, is that we actually like defending. We enjoy defending. And that's good to see. That's a positive. But against Liverpool Football Club, you cannot sit off and think we're going to sit in and try and defend because we'll just pick you off every single time. And that first goal was the gateway and kind of the platform to everything that happened after that. So as we move into the second goal, we had chances. Yeah. Jota had chances.
Yeah.
Ramsdale with a reflex save. I do feel it was a little bit close to him. And whilst none of those saves are easy, but it was a reflex save. Yeah. Mane had more chances, more reflex saves. Thiago had chances. What a volley that was.
Wasn't it? Great strike,
Great strike. But again, Ramsdale is kind of equal to it. So we were always threatening that goal. And it was a matter of time for that second goal to arrive. Talk us through the second goal, dude.
Oh, it's sensational, isn't it? I mean, wow.
Scintillating.
No, it's obviously the Arsenal left back gives the ball away, which he did 3 or 4 times tonight. I thought he had a really poor match. The left back, was it Tavares or something?
Tavares.
They're all quite new players, aren't they, this year? Arsenal have got a lot of new players, but gives the ball away to Jota, picks it up in that position where we're so used to seeing Bobby kind of drop in that position from the press in the front. And Arsenal, just to mention what you were talking about a second ago with Arteta, maybe they could have changed their style slightly, because yes, this style has worked against the bottom half teams in the Premier League, but away to Liverpool, playing out from the back every single time, very, 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 very risky, very dangerous. And Liverpool have the best front three in terms of pressing, and I think Jota is makes that front three, even without Bobby, still one of the best front three pressing teams in the final third, winning the ball back in the final third. So it was a matter of time until we won the ball there. So, Jota gets on the ball, so calm, so collective. Usually Jota's goals for Liverpool are the last touch in a move, a header, a finishing off at the back post. But to get on the ball outside the area, run at the goal, beat the player, knock him on his ass, go round Ramsdale. It was very, very good, and just slots it into an empty net, and unbelievable. And there was a good stat that came up that I think it said goals per minute. He's only one behind Mo Salah in terms of all the players since September 2020, like 128 minutes per goal, which is insane, absolutely insane. Just over 100 minutes, 130 odd minutes, he's scoring a goal for Liverpool in the Premier League. So what a revelation he has been, what a sensational signing he has been, and for me, every single time he gets a good run in the team, he kind of stays there, and he doesn't just get dropped out. The likes of Mane, the likes of Bobby need to work their way back in, and I think Bobby comes back hopefully in a few weeks, and he's going to have to work his way back in if Jota keeps up this kind of form.
I totally agree with you. I mean, to round the goalkeeper and put him on his ass, we joke about this. We go, he's got sent to the shops, or he's on his ass, or whatever you want. But to sit the goalkeeper down on his backside, and for him just to watch you glide past him and to slot that ball into the net is bellissimo.
It's beautiful,
fantastic. That is unbelievable. Any top class goalkeeper playing in the Premier League, because you have to have a little bit of something about you to play in the Premier League. To have that done to you just tells you not necessarily the lack of quality in that goalkeeper, but the composure of the striker. I mean, look, Kev just flashes it up right there. That comment there says it all. Composure. That is deadly, predatory finishing.
Right in front of the cop as well.
Yeah, ice cold. That is ice cold.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you got to have ice in your veins for that. Seriously, and I talk about it. That is, he's a killer. That's what you do. If you're a killer, that's what you do. You just pull the trigger. See you later, mate. Blow you away. Next.
Class.
So as we move on, I thought to myself, Mo's going to have one of them games today where they're just going to. I just think, it's not going to happen for him today. He's going to have one of them games where they're just all over him, and every time that he got the ball, they doubled up on him.
Yeah,
they tried to just basically cut the supply to Mo Salah.
Yeah.
But one player which we want to single out for some praise is Thiago, because I feel like Thiago noticed that and was like, okay, well, what we'll do then is we'll try and build it up a little bit more to allow Mo to get a bit free. And as the game opened up, Mo Salah, started to get more into the game, and finally that goal came. I mean, talk us through a little bit of Thiago's performance.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, again, the first 20, 25 minutes, when it's neck and neck, when it's level, when it's cagey, I don't feel we see the best of Thiago. I don't really necessarily think he works from the start very often. And today, I don't think he had the best start of the match. But as you said, once the game opens up, which you're spot on with saying, Thiago comes into his own and he begins to control the game. He drops back kind of deeper than Fabinho at times, into that kind of between Van Dijk and Matip, to get the ball, to start the move. And he was sensational today. Every single pass was where it needed to be. He ran the tempo. If it needed to be slowed down, he slowed it down. He can step it up and speed it up with that speed of pass when it needs to be shifted wide to a Trent, to a Tsimikas, to a Salah. I thought it was brilliant, and I think it's one of the best performances he's put in a Liverpool shirt today. I really do. As I said, other than the first 20 minutes where not necessarily just him, it was just, like you say, the atmosphere, it was a little bit flat, it was a little bit tentative, and once that spark happened on the sidelines, the game came to life, and so did Thiago. And I think he's a major reason and a major contribution for the reason that we were so comfortable today, because the front three can get a goal, great, but the games are won in midfield. Every game is won in midfield, in my opinion. That the winner of the midfield battle will win the game 9 times out of 10. So Thiago, Fabinho, we were discussing who might be the midfield three. We said it would be those two and another. Chamberlain obviously got the nod because Henderson wasn't 100%, but he looked pretty good when he came on. But no, for me, Thiago was brilliant. So fingers crossed he keeps in the team now, doesn't get any more injuries, and he can really use this performance as a catalyst. And we've got some decent fixtures coming up. We've got Southampton, we've got Everton. If he can put a stamp on those games and continue with that kind of performance, then I think we could see hopefully a sustained run of games, which would be lovely.
Yeah, with Thiago, he's the pass before the pass. I've spoken about this before. He's the pass before the pass, and I do feel that it's very difficult when you've got a player which is coming from another team overseas, from another team in Europe, because as fans of Liverpool or as fans of Premier League, we don't really watch the Bundesliga. We don't watch. Yeah, we don't watch Serie A. We don't watch La Liga. I do, but not a lot of fans. No, other fans watch those games. So when you think of Thiago, a lot of people think, oh, he's gonna get loads of assists and he's gonna set goals up. He's gonna score goals. That's not his game.
No,
he's a conductor. All he does is he retains possession. He keeps things ticking over. He looks to spread the ball, looks to play it combinations in midfield, spread it wide again, just to stretch the opponent. Arsenal all times were stretched. In that midfield, they did not look comfortable at all. They couldn't get a hold of the ball, solely because the ball movement was so good from Thiago. It was absolutely fantastic. Yeah. There you go. Kev O'Sullivan, bang on with the comment. Easy assister to the assist.
Oh, that's a proper stat in ice hockey, is it? That's an interesting point.
It is indeed.
Interesting to see how many assisters certain players have got, because there's a few in that category, isn't there? And like you say, you don't ever get the plaudit, do you? You get the pass before the pass, and it's a very important part of a goal, that. And I agree. I imagine, especially for his Barca and his Bayern days, I imagine his stat in that department would be very high.
I was crazy. And again, if you're into the Bundesliga is probably one of these most technical leagues in world football. The Bundesliga, between the teams, actually exchange tactical information and technical information between teams. So what it's done is designed to actually improve the quality of the league. So if anybody wants to look into Thiago's stats from his time over at the Bundesliga, they're readily available online. You can see it there. It is insane. It is insane how well he is used to retain the ball as a deep line playmaker or as a player which is just there to tick things over. That is what he's in this Liverpool team to do. We are never going to be able to be this full throttle, all out pressing, all out dynamic machine forever. As our players get older, the style of play has to evolve. And under Thiago, I feel like we've got Liverpool 2.0. Now, I will concede that 2 days ago, I did tweet out when the news broke that Barcelona could be technically interested or potentially interested in selling Frankie de Jong, and they are potentially interested in Thiago. And my tweet was, as much as it pains me, but a Thiago and de Jong swap deal could be an option, because Frankie de Jong and Thiago do similar things in terms of the way that they play the game. But I love Thiago, hence why my name is Thiago's father, hence why my son's called Thiago as well. He is. I mean,
it's one game, isn't it? I've been very critical of Thiago for a while. You have defended him to the hills, but recently you have joined the party of he needs to step it up now, and he did today. So credit where credit's due. You can look great in a 90-minute game when it goes your way, and he did. But as I've said, you need to do it again against Southampton. We've got Porto midweek. We've got Everton the week after that. So let's see this continue for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games. And then we can say, all right, here we go. Thiago's back. But for now, good performance in the 90 minutes, but work to do.
I don't want to see him anywhere near Everton ever again. I feel like I feel like fucking that assault on Virgil van Dijk and Thiago in the same game was absolutely despicable. I don't ever want to see any of those two players ever again. Trash. Trash. Anyway, big shout out for you as well. The Henderson ball forward that led to Taki's goal again was sex. Yes, it was. It was sexy football. Talk us through the third goal, my man.
Yeah, so that was the fourth one, wasn't it? So the third one was the Jota header. So Jota knocks it on. Mane, which is the pass for the pass. Mane goes down the line. Looks like he might shoot, but with the other angle, you can tell it was the right angle to cross it. And yeah, like you say, Mo Salah was having one of those days, but he couldn't miss that one, could he? He got his goal. Liverpool 3-0 up, and my prediction for the match was 3-0 Mane, Jota, Salah on the score sheet. So I was looking very, very nice. And I'm not going to complain that we added a fourth later on, but it was brilliant. I almost went for four. I even said it on our video. I did feel it was coming because, you know, we spoke about the record, Liverpool against Arsenal. You know, last year we beat them home and away. There's not many teams we did that against last year. We scored 6 goals against them. Mo Salah loves a goal against anybody. Mane and Jota have got good records against Arsenal, and we've now scored, I think, more goals against Arsenal than anyone else ever. At Anfield, I think there was a stat that came up saying we've scored 4 or more 5 times against them now, something along those lines anyway. But yeah, it's one of them goals where, you know, if you've got a front three that dynamic, that pacey, you know, and all clicking and working together, which they were today, you're going to score goals. And it kind of highlighted again how good Jota is, because as I say, I'm so used to seeing him on the end of the front three move, whether he's on the left, whether he's through the middle. But, you know, a couple of times today, he's dropping in, he's won the ball deep for his own goal, he's dropped onto the halfway line, and he knows, you know, Henderson knows it as well. Sometimes the basic stuff is a ball over the top to the fast guy. You know, Leicester won a league title doing that. It's pretty simple. It's effective. If you put a through ball to Mane and Salah's the only one that can keep up with him, and they do a sweaty goal, as it's known, across the goal, you're going to score a fair few of them in a season. So yeah, I was really impressed with that move. You know, absolutely devastating. And like you say, Arsenal, we've got these new defenders. Yeah, we've got Ben White, we've got Gabriel, we've got, is it Tomiyasu? I don't want to say it wrong.
Yeah, Tomiyasu. Yeah, Tomiyasu. That's it.
And Tavares and Ramsdale. You know, we're solid. We then got 4 in front of that with Partey and Lokonga and everyone else. And yeah, you know, you can kind of shithouse your way through a couple of bottom half teams, but I think they were really showing up today. And you know, Ben White tried to bring the ball out very early in the first half and got a bit of a surprise when he got tackled and was totally out of position. So
and he never did it again.
Yeah, and that was the end of that, wasn't it? So yeah, you know, when you, like you said, mate, you said it at the beginning of the show, there's levels to it, and when you're coming up against a Liverpool team in form in this kind of mood, you know, they're going to pull you to pieces. And there was a good comment earlier that came up about it. You know, it was a couple of Arsenal players' first experience of a loss and first experience a game at Anfield, and you know, for Arsenal, you know, Ben White and Ramsdale and Tomiyasu. This is real football, guys. You know, Liverpool can drop points home to Brighton at a 3:00 kickoff. We can drop points away to Brentford in a difficult atmosphere. But when you're at Anfield, Jamie Carragher said it in commentary. Tell me a harder place to go under the lights in world football than Anfield, because I don't know one. So
me neither.
You better be ready. You know, we've blasted Barca, we've blasted Roma. There's a lot of teams. Madrid 4-0 back in the day. It's a tough place to go, and you know, we've got one of the best 11s, one of the best teams that we've ever had. I think the squad could definitely be improved and strengthened, but currently, you know, there was no real weakness on that pitch. I think Chamberlain still has work to do to cement a position, because I think Hendo did more than him in his cameo, in my opinion, than what Chamberlain did. But yeah, 3-0, game over, wasn't it, from there?
I mean, look, Ox for me it's never passes the eye test. I don't look at Ox and think, oh, that looks sexy. Do you know what I mean? It never happens to me, but for me. But I think all in all, Ox had a good game. He was busy. Yeah. He was plucking away. He was a constant pest in that midfield, and I feel that's what he was in there to do: inject a bit of pace, a bit of energy, a bit of tempo in that midfield. And you know, Klopp often talks about this dynamism that we see from Oxlade-Chamberlain, and I think we saw that today, whatever that may be in inverted commas. We saw a bit of dynamism from him where he was getting stuck into people. He was winning the ball high. He was winning it hard and actually getting us on the front foot. And I do feel that we're starting to see a little bit of the reason why we signed on Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, however many years ago it was, that front foot forward thinking player that isn't scared to get stuck in and wrestle a ball from a midfield and just get on the front foot. Where I feel that, you know, he's not doing what he used to do before was that stride he would take and he'd let off this almighty banger. But he's not done that recently. And I think that's a confidence thing. The more he plays, the more I feel he'll start to do well and start to trust himself. Look, there you go. Look. You're reading my mind. You're reading my mind, Kev.
There was a highlights video, wasn't there? It was very nasty. I think a couple of years ago, maybe 1 year ago, where he had a shocking game. It might have been in the cup or something. And every ball he tried to do was off the pitch. Every shot was a P-roller wide. So, you know, when you're at that kind of level and you can't get any consistency, you do go back within yourself and you do try and do the basics and do the press stuff that you're not going to be judged on, and try and kind of suit everybody around you. But I agree. If you've got a Fabinho and a Thiago in the midfield and Henderson's not ready to start the game, then you do need a little bit of energy, a little bit of run. And he does give us that. And I think on one hand, Liverpool have evolved past Chamberlain a little bit like they did with Lallana. We're not used to seeing, Gini's press. I don't want to take too long on this, but Gini's press was very methodical, very planned, and at the right times. I think Chamberlain's press is a little bit headless chicken at times. I'm not trying to be too harsh. A little bit erratic. Yeah,
it's a bit erratic.
We do need that, and with the injury record that we have in our midfield at the moment, we did need him. But I do still think he has a role to play for the rest of the season. You look at him and Keita, probably one of them, if not both, may leave at the end of the season. I do think it's a bit of a head-to-head between those two. But getting in the team, availability is the best ability. If you make yourself available, you're going to get chances in this team. And I think it was the right move to start him in this game, bring him off after 60, 70 minutes and get Henderson on, because that's, that seemed to be all he had in the tank for today. And, as we go into the fourth goal, was about 60 seconds after he came on with Taki, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And look, and this is what he brings, high intensity. But quickly, I just want to touch on this comment as well. Massive shout out to you, Uncle Bob. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks,
it's commendable. It really is, because you've stepped into the lion's den. So it is commendable from you. Arsenal fan here. The mistake from our young left back for the Jota goal ended the game for us. I have to agree. But the game became stretched. It was pressured. It was a pressure cooker at that point. Yeah. And you're a young fullback. You're playing under the lights at Anfield. It was bound to happen. You're being pressed by world-class players. You're being hurried when you're in possession. It was bound to happen, my man. It was bound to happen. So let's switch on to that fourth goal then, because it was coming. He was hungry today, mate. He wanted a goal. And there was one in here as well. There was a comment in here. I'll see if I can find it, about Mo. Here it is. Salah overthinking it again. I have to disagree with you. I think that he knows when to start pushing, because he's a top class player. He's one of the best, if not the best, in world football at the moment. If he smells blood, he's a killer. He's pulling the trigger. If he smells blood, he's pulling the trigger, and that's what the best goal scorers in world football do. If we're at 0-0 and he's doing that, I'm going to turn around and go, listen, mate, you need to pass the ball.
Yeah.
But instead, we're at 2-0 up, 3-0 up, 4-0 up, and he's doing that. It's a very different place to be in the game. So it's commendable. But talk us through that fourth goal, my man.
Yeah, another Trent assist, wasn't it? Water is wet and Trent gets assist for Liverpool. Standard stuff. But exactly. No, it was a nice move.
Reach James, who are you?
To be fair, he got an assist, didn't he, this morning, sorry. But yeah, Mo Salah, I agree. Sometimes he holds on to the ball a little bit too long. He had a couple of times where he kind of couldn't make his mind up what to do and kind of ran into the defender before he decided what he wanted to do. But, when you're a player like Mo Salah, players are going to double up on you, triple up on you. And that's almost just as good, because you leave the overlap open. So, Trent goes round the back. Salah lines him in, and let's be fair, everybody in the box knows if I get free, Trent will find me and I will score a goal from 1 yard. And ball comes across. There's a couple queuing up at the back, and Taki gets his first goal after 60 seconds of coming on. I think it might be his second touch. And like you said, mate, his first goal at Anfield, his 8th goal for Liverpool. So probably his first goal that's not in the Carabao Cup against a League One team as well. I think he might have got one against Palace in the Premier, that 7-0, to be fair. But no, it was it was dead and buried by then. And they mentioned Jota had a knock with that collision with Ramsdale. Origi was injured. Don't know. I think he'd get an injury for Belgium or something.
Yeah.
So Taki's the next one to come in that kind of false 9 role, and he gets 15 minutes and he gets a goal. So we might need him. Firmino's not coming back anytime soon. Origi will probably be back on the bench next week, but we're going to need players like this to step up and
contribute.
And it's a point that you made last season, which will always stick with me because it was spot on. All of these kind of backup brigade players, they're just there. They're just taking the money because they last season, even when we needed them with the injury crisis we had, they were either injured as well or getting their chance and doing nothing. So
FA, yeah.
the likes of Shaqiri that was there last season, Origi and Minamino this season. I want more than League Cup cameos. You need to step up. Origi did it a couple of seasons ago when we won the league. I think it was. A goal against Newcastle in the last minute. The Everton goal against Pickford. Moments. You don't have to be world class for 30 matches. We've got a front three that can do that. But come in 15 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 5 minutes here, and get a goal, get an assist, make a difference. And you can't really ask for more than that.
Definitely, I agree. And the key thing, just as we start to close, is like you said, these fringe players coming in and contributing. Taki with a goal today, that's a contribution. Arguably, the game was dead and buried, but he's got on the score sheet. What more can you ask? And that's all that I expect from players when they come into this Liverpool team. We're not looking for players to come and start challenging necessarily for starting positions. And just quickly, we'll touch on the Tsimikas and Robertson situation. Robertson out injured after picking up an injury on international duty, but Tsimikas came in and played some decent football. He rarely looked troubled, and he's come in and once again he's contributed. I think we'll probably see him start in the next game as well, or I'd like to see him start in the next game as well and get sustained back-to-back games and minutes, just to try and say, like, look, I know I'm not going to take Andy Robertson's place in this team, but I am here when you need me, boss. I will come in and I will perform and I will contribute, and he'd done that today as well. Just as we close as well, yes, we'll throw some flowers at Tyler Morton. Of course we will.
Brilliant.
Yeah, decent little cameo at the end, and it's trying to set him up for that healthy kind of Liverpool future that he has. A certain Trent Alexander-Arnold started making cameos towards the end of games in the Rodgers era, and then really his career rocketed under Klopp. So big respect for Jurgen Klopp for giving him a little cameo period.
Nice little hug as well for him to come on. I like
nice
that.
Little hug as well. And that's going to do a young player's confidence the world of good. To come on in a game where we're 4-0 up and actually be part of a kind of the victory parade, so to speak, at the end of the game, that's going to show him what it's like to play under the lights at Anfield in a Premier League fixture against Arsenal. But guys,
sorry, go on, mate.
Go on. No, go for it.
No, I just wanted to touch on what you mentioned about Robertson. It was a really good point that you made. I think we've got Porto in the week, and Kev makes a really good comment here, the last comment in there. We've qualified for the Champions League knockout stages. We've won the group. This is a real chance now to give players that are on the cusp minutes, players that need minutes, that are coming back from injuries, chance and minutes under their belt. And for me, I want to see Robertson and Tsimikas flipped now, because Tsimikas has had to play in the League Cups that, in all these kind of games that are the second-rate matches. And he's done well and he's earned his spot, and he's now taken advantage of Robertson being injured. And again, I think, like you say, did okay. Every cross he put in was good. He did a good overlap with Mane as well and got the cross in where the Ramsdale kind of had that kind of double save. So I think it's up to Robertson now to get chucked in against Porto in a dead rubber game and say, okay, win your spot back, mate, because we've got Southampton at the weekend, which is the biggest game next week. We've got Everton the week after that. So Tsimikas, for me, probably sits out Porto if Robertson's okay to play, depending on injury. I don't know if Tsimikas can play tonight, Porto, and the weekend or not, because he's not had a sustained run in the team as of yet. Potentially he could do. But I want to see Robertson now challenged for that spot. I want to see him, if he's fit, play against Porto. And let's be fair, 2 years ago, Trent v. Robertson for assists was like 9 each, 10 each, 11 each, 12 each. Trent has carried on that form. Robertson has not. So he needs to step it up again, I think. Nobody's Trent Alexander-Arnold, let's be fair. Best right back in terms of assists in the world. But, I want to see Robertson now not just come back in because it's Andy Robertson. I want him to earn his spot back. And I think Tsimikas has now earned the respect to make that position fought for. You can't just drop him out because he's the backup left back. If he's playing well, every game he plays, we win. Every game he plays, we don't concede. Eventually that's not a coincidence.
No, you make some really good points there as well. And ultimately, I think that competition for places is fantastic. Competition for places at the highest level in world football, you need competition for places. And yes, I would like to see Tsimikas get back-to-back games. I don't. Robbo needs a rest. And I don't necessarily think it's a physical issue now because he's picked up a small injury, but I don't necessarily think it's that he's physically drained. I think he's mentally drained. you think as what's happened over the last couple of years, new baby and his family, you know, the season that we had last season, that's difficult. That's difficult.
Yeah.
Some of us go to 9-to-5s, full-time jobs. Our partners have kids, and we're like, oh my God, I can't cope. It's the same for a professional football player. They have the same life challenges that we have, maybe posed in a different way, but they still have these challenges. It can be mentally draining. So
Yes.
I feel he just needs a little rest just to recharge those batteries and not necessarily go toe to toe for Tsimikas for that starting position. But this is why we have players in that. This is why we have players. Rotation isn't a bad thing. Liverpool have not been a team that have been able to rotate for years. We're now in a position. Yeah, we're now in a position where at the left back position, we can rotate. At the centre back position, we can rotate. When everybody's fit in the midfield, we can rotate.
Yeah.
We can rotate in the front three, arguably Jota coming in and Firmino dropping out, or Mane having a rest and Jota coming in. Whatever way you do it, there is some flexibility in those forward positions as well. We should take advantage of the position that we're in and give these players some mental rest. And then we can plow on, and hopefully, come May, we lift a league title.
Fingers crossed, mate.
But guys, we've been the Red Sea podcast. It's good for us to be back on your screens. Really, 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 really enjoyed the pod. Catch us over at the Red Sea Pod on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Make sure you are liking and subscribing to the content and you are following us. We are on the way to 600 subscribers. We'd like to get there before the end of the year. Yeah, before the end of the year. We'd like to be at 600 subs. It would be nice. It would be nice. What we got coming up next weekend? Just let the viewers, or next week, just let the viewers know. We're going to have a Porto preview, surely.
Yes, we are. We're going to have an FC Porto preview. So that's one to look out for. And we'll be back here on Daytrippers for the match reaction, Red Sea full time after that. And then again, we've got Southampton preview as well for the weekend's games. So yeah, lots of matches coming thick and fast now. A few midweek games coming up on the old Amazon Primes as well. So there'll be lots of Fab Fours, lots of Red Sea full times coming up. So yeah, keep it LFC Daytrippers and Red Sea podcast.
Definitely. And guys, thank you for joining us. I've been Thiago's father. This has been my co-host, Southern Scouser. We've been the Red Sea full time. We're over and we're out.